Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and welcome back to our Guilds of Ravnica pre-release guide series. In this video, we are talking the Golgari Swarm. In case you missed our first episode on the Boros Legion, you can see that right here by just clicking the link on the screen. With all of that said, let's go over the seeded pack, the guild itself, the strategy, playable cards, what to look out for, and much more. I do hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, just remember to hit that like button right down there. It helps out a lot. The Golgari Swarm is life and death. The guild is built upon the idea that both life and death are a part of the natural cycle of things. The Golgari wield life and death like tools, manipulating them for their own benefit and the benefits show. The Golgari Swarm is the biggest guild on Ravnica by far for a reason. Its members never really die. They are reanimated constantly. From the Undercity, the Golgari take apart and put together beings to create all sorts of nonsense. If you like interacting with your graveyard, if you like the idea that your graveyard is really just an extension of your hand, if you enjoy the fact that nothing you cast is ever truly gone, the Golgari is for you. This is the Reanimation Guild, the Graveyard Matters Guild, the Infinite Value from Dead Creatures Guild. If you belong here, I'm pretty sure you know it already. The Golgari mechanic in Guilds of Ravnica is Undergrowth. Unlike all of the other guild-based mechanics in this set, Undergrowth has some variety to it. Now, the effect is always based on how many creature cards are in your graveyard, but the effect itself, always different. Golgari Raiders, for example, enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature card in your graveyard, while Mood Mark Painter gives a creature a power boost based on the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Undergrowth is pretty straightforward. Your job is to ditch as many things as possible into your graveyard, specifically creatures, so you can use your other creatures' Undergrowth triggers and do some real damage on the battlefield. Thankfully, the Golgari help out their own, so you should get at least a couple Undergrowth cards in your seeded pack. Glowspore Shaman self-mills you 3, and Erstwhile Trooper gives you a discard outlet for your creatures. You can't get much more straightforward than this. Now, time to go over the rares you can get in your seeded pack, then talk playables, then talk strategy for the pre-release. Each guild has 8 rares or mythics that you can open in your seeded pack. You get one of them. For the Golgari, there are some interesting options. The first being Vraska Golgari Queen. If you open Vraska, you're pretty happy about it. She's great in everything. She fuels Undergrowth with her first ability, and Abrupt Decays with her second. Totally gross, absolutely insane. Then we have Zoni Thousand-Eyed, quite expensive to cast, but has a crazy Undergrowth trigger creating 1/1 insects, and once it's on the battlefield, it'll make your Undergrowth even stronger by sacrificing more creatures. Of course, it can also just sacrifice tokens to draw cards. That's just as dumb, if not more so. It's a great card. Find and Finality make up one of the better split cards for Limited, to be honest. Double recursion to your hand, or you buff a creature, then board wipe, most likely killing everything except what you just pumped. Again, another solid card to get in your seeded pack. Underrealm Lich is a huge boss, helps your Undergrowth every single turn, in addition to digging 3 cards deep every single turn, and you can make it indestructible. The Lich is a bomb in Limited. We all know Assassin's Trophy. You can get this as your pre-release promo. If you do, enjoy the boatload of money you just got and the solid removal spell. Charnel Troll is cheap, powerful, fuels Undergrowth, and eats away at Undergrowth at the same time, while also growing stronger. The Troll is Golgari Incarnate. Hatchery Spider forces you to go really deep on Undergrowth if you want it to be as strong as it possibly can. That Undergrowth ability has value for sure, but to take advantage, you're going to need to fill your yard really fast. Regardless, a 5/7 with a reach is hard to get rid of, so it's playable. And lastly, Mausoleum Secrets. This is going to be the rough one if you open it and you don't have a bomb black card. I'd love to tell you to play this card anyways, but unless you also open a super insane mythic or rare black card, the Secrets is not good. It isn't too reliable thanks to it being solely reliant on Undergrowth, and the effect is narrow. Just watch out for this, I guess. Time to talk playables in the Golgari guild. Unlike Boros and Mentor, Undergrowth takes a lot more to get going. With that in mind, you're not playing for the early game here. For Undergrowth to even start working, creatures have to be in your graveyard, and that's going to take a non-zero amount of turns here. Let's take a look at just how many Golgari cards have Undergrowth on them. Crawl Harpooner, Lotleth Giant, Molder Hulk, Necrotic Wound, Crawl Foragers, Rhizome Lurcher, and Vigor Spore Worm. In addition to the cards mentioned previously, 12 of the 23 Golgari cards are Undergrowth based. That's an incredibly huge amount. That's truly staggering. Which means we have to look at Golgari in a bit of a different light. In your seeded pack, and in the rest of the packs you open, you will open more Undergrowth cards. You just will. You have to love Undergrowth to pick Golgari in this pre-release. I hope that drives the point home enough. If you want to play Undergrowth, just pick Golgari. Knowing that the Golgari are entirely dependent on Undergrowth to be good, we have to see what else Black and Green has to offer that might help Golgari take advantage of this potentially powerful ability. Crawl Swarm lets you discard creature cards to recur it to your hand, but that does take it out of the graveyard itself, so it's actually kind of awkward. Pilfering Imp can sacrifice early, play Crafter Edicts itself away, or another creature you have. Severed Strands removes a creature and you get a sacrifice. Undercity Necrolis gets bigger whenever you sacrifice another creature. Cheap engine right there. We even have Portcullis Vine in green that can sack itself or anything with Defender. There are some neutral sack options we have to work with. Plus, it's not like there isn't any removal in these colors. Deadweight, Deadly Visit, Mephitic Vapors, Necrotic Wound, Price of Fame, Affectionate Indrik, and Prey Upon. And these are in addition to Play Crafter and Severed Strands, which we already talked about. There is a lot of removal in Black and Green, and that's going to help you make it out of the early game and into the mid game, where you should be able to start dropping your bombs, sacrificing things, getting that Undergrowth engine going. Of course, even with all of that said, enabling Undergrowth seems like a huge chore, right? You know what will help Undergrowth the most in this pre-release event? House Dimir. That's right, House Dimir is going to come to the rescue. For as many Undergrowth cards as there are in this set, the Golgari have an embarrassingly low number of enablers. That's where House Dimir and Surveil comes in. We already know the Swarm is going to be a bit slow, so let's take advantage. Barrier of Bones is an early drop to stem the bleeding and start the graveyard machine. I don't see why we can't jump into blue for cards like City Watch Sphinx, or Dimir Informant, or Unexplained Disappearance, or Watcher in the Mist. Listen, with all of the guild gates and lockets that will be in these packs, splashing is going to be easier than ever, and I really don't think there's a choice here if you open a decent amount of Surveil cards. Undergrowth needs Surveil. It needs it. They are meant to be played together. Surveil enables Undergrowth. It's as simple as that. They are just stool tie. Even better, let's say you splash blue for Surveil. That means you also get the blue from Jumpstart, the Isn't mechanic, the one that lets you recast spells from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to the card's cost. This is genius, think about it. Chemister's Insight, radical idea, so good. If you open Golgari and you can splash blue, consider some of these Jumpstart cards. You don't need them in your graveyard, so recasting them isn't going to hurt you. You get to ditch more creatures to your yard, and the more cards you draw, the more fodder you have for discarding and sacrifice shenanigans. It's almost like these mechanics were made to be paired with Undergrowth. How weird would that be? Just when you thought we were done, House Dimir and the Izzet League aren't the only guilds Undergrowth works with. The Selesnya Conclave can also get in on this undead action. Think about how many creatures in Golgari want to sacrifice other creatures. Even if you aren't putting creatures into the graveyard for Undergrowth, we are still talking about an engine. We need creatures to sacrifice, right? Why not splash white for Selesnya ones? If you have a strong green-white showing in the rest of your packs, pairing up your sack outlets with Ledev Champion, Conclave Guildmage, and Conclave Cavalier seems particularly broken. Add this to the fact that both Selesnya and Golgari want creatures on the battlefield, and you have some synergy just waiting to happen. Convoke can benefit from Golgari wanting to cast creatures before they die. It's kind of a messed up system, but it could absolutely work. I do think the pairing with Jumpstart and Surveil is better, but this one is more than serviceable if you have the cards for it, definitely. Of all the guilds in this pre-release, I am confident in saying Golgari is the most flexible when it comes to mechanical synergy. Undergrowth is surprisingly synergistic with other mechanics. Jumpstart, no-brainer. Surveil, no-brainer. Even Convoke, it makes perfect sense. If you're hesitating about what to pick for pre-release, or you really like being forced into 3 colors, or you really enjoy the various mechanics in the set, consider choosing Golgari. The creatures are powerful in their own right, the mechanic has near universal appeal, and it'll be fun as heck. What a wide open guild. Never would have thought that coming into this set. Learn something new every day. And that's going to do it for this episode of our Guilds of Ravnica pre-release guide covering the Golgari Swarm. What do you think? Is this the type of guild you've been looking for? Something flexible, also disgusting, basically rotting from the inside out. If it's for you, let me know in the comments. I am super interested to hear what y'all have to say about this. Plus, I need friends, so please talk to me. Anywho, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. Guilds of Ravnica booster boxes are pre-ordering right this second for $91 each on TCG Player. I have no idea why you haven't pre-ordered yet, but if you haven't, boy, do I have the deal for you. Just click on the screen. The link is right there. If you don't have a local game store or yours is charging way too much, just get great prices on boxes. It helps the channel. It's a win-win. Enjoy.